Today's Valentine's Day, and we're going to share a fun story for Valentine's Day. The Runaway Valentine, written by Tina Casey, illustrated by Teresa Smythe, and it is published by Albert Whitman and Company. The Runaway Valentine. In the big Amatic card shop was a long, tall, gleaming golden rack full of the most beautiful, the most fabulous, the most, dare we say it, awesome Valentines you ever saw in your whole life. There were Valentines that could dance, Valentines that could sing, Valentines that could spell out your name in puffs of pink and purple smoke, and even Valentines that could pop and plant a big one right on your lips. The most gorgeous Valentine in the whole rack was a guy named Victor. He had the lace, the glitter, the sparkles, and he could sing 20 different love songs when you pushed a secret button on his belt. He had everything. Everything, that is, except for maybe a little patience. On Valentine's Day, bright and early in the morning, Victor was ready. "Me first," he shouted. "Me first. Somebody's going to buy me first because I'm the best Valentine of all times." Victor was so excited, he cut to the front of the rack, elbowed another Valentine aside, lost his balance, and fell. "Yikes," says Victor. "Rats, he's fallen on the floor." The shopkeeper didn't notice him. His broom swept Victor under the rack into a pile of dust. All day long, Victor sat under the rack waiting. Someone would notice him sooner or later. How could they miss? But by mid-afternoon, almost all the other Valentines were gone. "Oh, somebody will pick me up soon," he said out loud. "Are you kidding?" said a big, shiny Valentine. It had a built-in light-up mirror, and it was sitting right over Victor. "Have you taken a good look at yourself lately?" Victor looked up and saw his reflection. He was a mess. There was dust in his lace, and there was grit in his glitter. His secret button had popped off, and he could not sing, not even a note. But Victor wasn't ready to give up. "Oh, what's a little dust and grit?" he said. "There must be somebody out there who wants me." Victor brushed himself off, hiked up his lace, and marched out of the store. Actually, Valentines can't march. So the only thing he could do was move quickly by turning cartwheels. So he kind of did a marching cartwheel out of the store. Victor cartwheeled all the way down the block, but nobody picked him up. Finally, he had to stop. A big puddle of icy cold water blocked the way. He was tired, bent, and tattered. "Look what I did to my corners," he moaned. "But somebody must still want me. Victor looks pretty bad, doesn't he?" Just then, a girl picked him up. "Hey, this is great," she said. She very gently and carefully bent Victor into kind of a scoop shape, and she used him to push a big, beautiful marble out of the puddle. So Victor becomes a scoop to get a marble out of the puddle. "There you are," she said, giving the marble to her little brother. "Now keep it in your pocket until we get there." She dropped Victor back where she had found him. "Now I'm soaked from here to there, and I'm all curvy in the wrong places," said Victor. "But somebody must still want me." Just then a boy picked him up. "This is terrific," he said. Very gently, he tore off Victor's lace. He used it to tie the broken strap on his backpack. "This ought to hold until I get there," he said, and he dropped Victor back where he found him on the ground. "My beautiful lace is all gone," Victor cried, "but somebody must still want me." Just then a woman picked him up. "This is wonderful," she said. She very carefully and gently tore off the wet part. Then she went into the phone booth and made a call. "Okay, I have a piece of paper now," she said, and she started to write all over Victor with a pen. "That's 3 blocks down Main, 2 blocks to Dallas, number 612. Oh, that's easy to remember. I'll be there in a flash," she said. She dropped Victor where she had found him. "I'm covered with graffiti," said Victor, "but someone must still want me." Just then a man picked him up. "This is fun," he said. He very carefully and gently folded Victor over into a little square and tucked him into the back of his shoe. "That blister was really hurting me," the man said. "This ought to make it feel better until I get there." And Victor says, "Oh, I can hardly breathe in here." The man walked 3 blocks down Main to the light, turned right, and went 2 blocks to Dallas. He stopped in front of a big apartment building. "I'd look pretty silly showing up in with an old piece of cardboard in my shoe," he said. He pulled Victor out and dropped him under a bush. "I'm all wrinkly and creased and smudged and frazzled," said Victor, "but somebody must still want me." And then a little squirrel came along. "Hey, this is lovely," said the squirrel. She began to nibble all around Victor's edges. She nibbled and nibbled until she had gathered a big pile of cardboard fluff. "This will make my nest all warm and toasty," she said. "I'll come back for the rest later." There was nothing left of Victor but a little round piece of pink cardboard covered with red glitter. There wasn't even enough left of him to cry. "Nobody will want me," he thought to himself. "I'm no good for anything anymore. Maybe if I'm lucky, some ant will take me home and use me for a coffee table." See, that's all that's left of Victor. Just then, a little girl picked him up. "Hey, this is perfect," she said. She carried Victor into the big apartment building. She carried him all the way to the 6th floor on the elevator. She opened the door to number 6H and went inside very quietly. She carried Victor into the kitchen and put him on the table. She took out a pair of scissors and a bottle of glue. Victor was afraid to look. From a secret spot in the bottom of a drawer, she took out a little Valentine that she had made all by herself. She very gently and carefully trimmed Victor into the shape of a heart and pasted him right in the middle. Then she carried the Valentine into the room with all the people. "Happy Valentine's Day, Grandma," she said to her grandmother. And everyone said it was the greatest, most terrific, finest, most wonderful, loveliest, by far the best Valentine they had ever seen in their whole entire lives. And Victor says, "I've still got it." Happy Valentine's Day from the Runaway Valentine. Did you know that February is also Library Lovers Month? Today is Valentine's Day, but the whole month of February is a month set apart to love your library. And so this book is A Library by Nikki Giovanni. And let's see what it's about. It is illustrated by Erin K. Robinson and published by Versify, an imprint of HarperCollins. A Library by Nikki Giovanni. After breakfast on Monday, Grandmother washes the sheets and pillowcases. I wash the dishes. I help her hang out the sheets outside and watch the wind gently blow them. Grandmother takes her sit down and asks me, "Aren't you going to return those books?" I hurry up Mulvaney Street all the way to Vine Avenue to the Carnegie Library. A library is, let's see what all the things that she thinks a library is. A place to be free in space. To be a cook or to be a crook. To be in love. To be unhappy. To be quick and smart. To be contained and cautious. To surf the rainbow to sail the dreams. To be blue, to be jazz. To be wonderful, to be you. A place to be, yeah, to be. I go home and help fold the sheets and peel the carrots and potatoes and onions. And go sit on the back porch, covering my toes with a quilt, and read. Isn't that a beautiful picture? To be another me. I hope you enjoyed this book, A Library by Nikki Giovanni, and that a library is all these things and more to you. Come visit our libraries where you can check out books, movies, magazines. You can play games. You can use our STEM and STEAM kits. We have so much fun at the library, and we hope that you will come and use your library in Coffeyville or Oakland.